y'all, so today I am going to be talking to y'all about my most disappointing reads of 2018. These books are not necessarily books that I hated or thought were bad. I just had higher expectations for them and they kind of fell flat or just disappointed me basically. I did make a worst books of 2018 video. I will link that down below, and I'm doing a whole series, so I have the worst books, most surprising books, most disappointing books, and then the best books. And if y'all have been watching me for a while, my setup's a little different. I'm a little farther away. I got a ring light for Christmas and I'm filming with it for the first time, and it is hot. Let me just say it is hot. I'm like burning up right now with this. Like I'm literally sweating. And if it's just a little funky or tilted even, I'm still trying to figure out the setup, so I'm sorry about that. But let's just go ahead and get into the video and talk about my most disappointing reads of 2018. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is Elevation by Stephen King. This book is, it's a Stephen King, and I just thought it would be really, really good because it's a Stephen King. And it also is in the category of horror, and I do not know why that is because this is not a horror book at all. If anything, it felt more like an adult contemporary with a little bit of a fantastical element to it. It wasn't, the fantastical element wasn't even that great, to be honest. I think I gave this a 2.5 or 3 out of 5 stars. And it wasn't bad or anything. The writing was beautiful as always, but I just felt that it was way too short, first of all, way too short. And it's about this man named Scott, and he has this illness right now that is making him lose weight very rapidly. And he's just very sick, and he has these neighbors. The neighbors are a lesbian married couple, and he lives in a small town, and these women get abused all the time, just verbally, and they get treated awfully basically. And Scott starts to kind of have a confrontation with them, not because of their sexual orientation, but because their dogs keep going to the bathroom on his lawn, and he just gets mad about it and is asking them to at least pick up the dog's business whenever it's done. And yeah, they basically don't get off on a good start at first. You see Scott and them slowly start to become friends, and they really start to admire each other and love each other, and the relationship is just really, really nice that forms between Scott and the women. And the thing is, like, I just felt like when the relationship was getting started and when it was getting good, the book just ended. And I don't really know the point of this book, honestly. I really don't. The only thing good about it is that it did have some, it did say some good things about the way the LGBTQ community gets treated even today. And that's the only good thing about it, is that it points out those things and that it was a somewhat diverse book. But other than that, it was just lacking in everything to me. Plot, character development. I felt like everything happened really fast, and I don't know, it just fell flat for me. So there's that one. The next book I have here is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. So I have heard wonderful things about the Lunar Chronicles, and when I picked it up, I was really nervous because I don't know why. The whole idea just didn't seem that interesting to me. It's basically fairy tales retold, but they're cyborgs, and I don't know why that just did not catch my interest, but I had so many people request that I read it, so I did. It just ultimately was very disappointing to me. I had heard a lot of people really just rave about this book, and maybe if it wasn't so hyped up, I would like it a little better, but I definitely thought it was overhyped. I definitely don't see why it's as beloved as it is, and I'm going to continue on in the series. I am going to read Scarlet because I have had people beg me to do it and say that the series gets better and that they really need me to read it, so but I don't know, it just was kind of meh to me. The characters were fine. The relationship I wasn't exactly crazy about. I honestly, it's just kind of forgettable for me. But I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was an enjoyable read. Like, it was action packed, and I was definitely, like, very involved in the book. Like, I wanted to know what happened and everything. It wasn't a bad book by any means. It just wasn't great. It did still disappoint me because I was just expecting this book to be absolutely spectacular, and it just wasn't that for me. Okay, the next two books I'm going to talk about are all in a series. So I'm going to start with A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. So this is the third book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I thought Court of Thorns and Roses was okay. It wasn't great. I thought it was kind of just mediocre. A Court of Mist and Fury, I really loved that book. I actually gave it a 5. I thought it was fantastic. And then after that book, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm really involved in the series. Let's see what it has to offer me. And then this came out, and I was just like, it just kind of was really boring to me. It was way too long, way too long. It's like, I think almost like 600 pages. Yeah, it's like 600 pages or something like that. On top of that, I felt like it was just like, I don't feel like there was enough of the war involved. I don't know, in Rhys and Feyre's relationship in this, it just kind of like, I don't know, I just wasn't as into it as I was in the second one. They make me roll my eyes a lot in this one, to be honest. Like, I would really roll my eyes. I would be like, okay, that's good. I just kept thinking, if he calls her his mate, I mean, one more time, I am going to freaking throw this book at the wall. It was just a little too cringy at times, and I just wanted more of the political aspect to it and the fighting and the war, and I just didn't really feel like it fulfilled, it didn't fulfill my needs for this series, basically. And after A Court of Mist and Fury, I was expecting nothing but amazingness, and this just was not that for me. Now, this is not technically in the series, I guess. It's a novella after the third book, but it is It is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the book that came out after A Court of Wings and Ruin, and this one for me was, I don't know why it was even made. It was honestly just like, why? I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars, maybe a 3. Oh, and Court of Wings and Ruin, I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. With this, it was just once again very blech, and I just didn't get it. And Rhys and Feyre, I love them in Court of Mist and Fury so much, but in these books, they make me want to gag myself. Like, I'm so serious. They are so annoying and cringy and just obnoxious. And even Rhys would start to irritate me a little bit. And also, I felt like Feyre, like, she has this amazing political position in her world, and I feel like she should be kicking ass and taking names. And it just kind of talks about her doing these very like shopping or decorating her house, and I'm just like, no, I want to see like fighting. I want to see a badass woman come into this political stance and take charge, and I want to see all of what's involved with that. I don't want to see her go shopping in the mall. Like, come on now. Like, it was just, I don't know. I just did not appreciate this one, to be honest, and I don't know why it was made. The only thing good about it is its cover. It is absolutely beautiful. It is very beautiful, but this very much disappointed me. It really disappointed me. The only book that I really like in this series, to be honest, is A Court of Mist and Fury, and part of me just wants to get rid of every other book and just have that one on my shelf, but we'll see if that happens one day. The next book I'm going to be talking about is City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. This is the 4th book in the Mortal Instrument series. I read the first 3 books in the Mortal Instrument series, and I was so in love. I thought it was great, and I was excited to pick this one up, but it fell very, very flat for me. I think I gave this a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It just wasn't, I don't know, I was very bored, and this is like one of the shortest books in the series, and it took me so long to get through. And I just honestly personally believe that the Mortal Instrument should have ended at City of Glass. I felt like it was perfect. I thought that everything tied up nicely, and then these next 3 books are just not what I want. I'm on City of Lost Souls now, and it is taking me months to get through this book. I mean, I think I'm on like page 330 something right now, and it is seriously taking me months to get there, and I still have 200 pages to go. So I'm like really struggling to get through it, this last part of this series, and it's a struggle, honestly, and it was really hard to get through this book as well. I don't know, I just felt like it didn't get interesting till the very, very end, and I don't know, it just wasn't very interesting to me. The characters even fell flat for me, and I I felt like I was annoyed with Jason Clary's relationship a lot with this one because I wanted to see them happy and together and fighting as a team. And I just feel like they're so separated. I feel like they're not really a couple. I feel like they're distant. I feel like I don't know. I'm just not getting what I want from their relationship. But, I mean, it wasn't a horrible book. The last part of it really saved it. It still was disappointing for me. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I have heard so many wonderful things about the Throne of Glass series, and I was really excited to pick it up and start reading it. Honestly, it's not my favorite book by any means, or my favorite fantasy series. I am on the 3rd book now, and I just find the main character, Celaena, to be incredibly annoying. I really don't like her at all. I don't really like any of the characters, and the love interest, like there's a love triangle in it. I don't care about any of those 3 people. There's one, Chaol. I kind of like him. He's okay. He seems decent to me, but I don't really care if he ends up with her. Honestly, I don't really care what happens to any of them. And that's a problem for me. I really, really get a deep attachment to the characters that I read about in books. And if I'm not feeling that attachment, that is a really big problem for me. And this wasn't a bad book. There definitely were parts in it where I was like rolling my eyes, like especially at Celaena. Celaena is so annoying. Like she drove me bat crazy. But, I mean, it wasn't horrible. The plot was good. I was very interested in the political aspect of the books, but the romance was god-awful. There's no chemistry between any of them. There is no chemistry at all. It's not my favorite. I am going to continue on in the series because people just seem to love it. And it's not like I despise this book. Like, it is interesting enough for me to keep reading it, but it's just not great either. So, I think I gave this a 3. Or 3.5, something around there. Okay, I've got 2 more books for y'all. They're both thrillers, they're both adult thrillers, so I guess I'll start off with The Kindworth Killing by Peter Swanson. I actually gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. It was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. However, I had just seen reviews where people were giving it a 5 out of 5 stars and saying it was like the best thriller they've ever read, and I had really high expectations for it. And the ending fell very, very flat for me. There was a pretty good twist in the middle of the book that I really loved, but the ending just fell so flat. And I was like, that's all that happens? That's it? I was just so disappointed, honestly. I was just like, this sucks. I'm sad. I want to cry a little bit, but it's fine. But I don't know. It just was so disappointing to me. And a 4 is a really good rating, so I would recommend people read this. It's a great book. I just had such high expectations for it. And I also heard in the reviews that the twists were just absolutely crazy. And there was one twist and it was in the middle of the book. And I didn't feel like there was anything else shocking or surprising or fantastic about the rest of it, honestly. It was still a really good psychological thriller. I was obsessed with the characters. So like I said, I really liked it. It just fell flat for me at the end. The last book I'm going to talk about, which is the most disappointing one I think I have had all year. This is definitely by far the most disappointing. That is Not Film by Marisha Pessl. I have heard wonderful things about this book. Amazing things about this book. I've seen it have 5 stars, basically from everybody that I know who's read it and reviewed it. I just expected such great things from it. I loved the first, the first 400 and something pages of this. I was obsessed. I was ready. I was so involved in the story. Like, I was sucked in. I could not put it down. I absolutely couldn't put it down. I was just in love with it. And I kept saying throughout the whole book, oh, this is getting a 5. This is for sure getting a 5 stars. And then the ending happened. The ending was so disappointing. Kind of like The Kindworth Killing, except this was even more of a disappointment because I loved the 90% of this book so much. Like, I thought for sure it was going to be my favorite book of the year. I was so excited. And then the ending just ruined it for me. I did not like the ending whatsoever. I felt like I wasted my time. This is a large book, y'all. This is like a 600-page book. This is a big book, especially for a thriller. And for me to be that invested in 400 to 500 pages, and then for the last bit of it to just utterly disappoint me, it sucked. And I felt like I wasted my time. And I did not think I would think that with this book. I just was expecting such a fantastic ending because the build up is great. Like, they really build you up throughout the whole book. but it was so anticlimactic. And if anybody has read this book, I hope y'all know what I'm saying. I think some people, it depends on perspective or what type of reading you like. Some people really, really like that ending. They didn't mind it. For me, it just was so disappointing. But it was not a bad book by any means. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really good book, but the ending just sucked. It sucked to me. It absolutely sucked. That is all that I have for the most disappointing books of 2018. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I am sweating from this ring light right now. Woo! Lord have mercy. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I am going to now change a shirt and film the best books of 2018. Maybe go step in a cold shower real quick because I am burning up. If y'all like my video, please give it a thumbs up. And if y'all want to subscribe, I'll have my face right here. And yeah, I will just see y'all later. Bye.